Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Nicole with a Bushel and a Peck Designs, and today is day one in our mom inspired series. I started a series last year around Father's Day, so I wanted to do a Mother's Day inspired series this year. First things first, we are working on mixing up some custom glitters. So I am taking Snowball Fight, Abominable, Drizzle, Chapters, and You Wish, all from Diamonds and Dust. And I'm not really measuring anything specific. I'm just kind of putting a little scoops in there and then mixing up and then adding a little bit more here and there to get the color that I want. I'm going for a really creamy colored color. Cream colored glitter is hard to come by, so I'm just mixing some light gold tones with some white tones to come up with something. After I mix all of that together, I'm going to take a little bit more drizzle because I figured this is a really like silvery gold, and mixed with the white and the gold, it really helps bring that cream color together. So mix that up really well. And then I'm going to take Fabulous from Sandy's Organized Chaos, and I'm going to start over in a new cup because I decided I wanted all of the glitters to have the same texture. So I wanted them all to have the same chunky consistency. So I added a little bit of that to the cup and then added some of our custom mix, and it was perfect, except I felt like it needed a little bit more creamy look. So I'm going to take a little bit of, I don't remember what this color is. It is a very light pale yellow from Diamonds and Dust. Mix that in and it was perfect. Then for our black mixture, I'm going to take a little bit of Black Flame Candle from the Drunk Flamingo, and also that same Fabulous from Sandy's Organized Chaos, and then Formal and Black Beauty from Diamonds and Dust to get a really sparkly, chunky, pretty black for our black shade. For the yellow mixture, I am taking two more Diamonds and Dust colors that I cannot remember. I will have to leave that information down in the description box. And then I am also going to mix in that same Fabulous. The reason I am mixing that in all of them is it's a white opaly glitter, but then it helps give the same texture and the same chunkiness to all of the colors. And then I don't know what happened, but I painted the tumbler and then added some Crystalac glitter glue, and I can't find that coverage. I think, like usual, it's not uncommon for me to hit the record button, but it was already recording and then I'm not recording. So anyways, I applied that, and then we are just doing an ombre with all three of those glitter colors. And I'll be honest with you, I really should have done this using the epoxy method. I felt towards the end that the glue was just not enough to help build a good ombre, but it's okay because we're covering this up anyway, so it didn't really need to be a perfect ombre to begin with, but I still like to give it a go and give it a pretty good ombre, just in case by chance you see a portion of it that doesn't look good. But anyways, I just gave that an ombre, and then I took it outside, and actually I patted it down really well with my hand. I am using a curved mug from the Tumbler supply store. I believe this is the 14 ounce. And it's hard to roll in notebook paper, so I just took my hand and patted it down the best that I could, and then I sprayed it with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum's clear glossy spray paint to seal that up once it was all dry, and then I gave it a really good coat of epoxy. And then after that, I cut just a strip sheet of this honeycomb pattern, and I'm going to go through and hand remove all of the little inside pieces because we just want it more like a stencil. And then after I was done with that, I covered the entire thing with my transfer paper By the way, I really like this transfer paper. I got it on Amazon and I am loving it so far. And then what I did is I wasn't going to cover the whole thing. It's hard to line that up on a curved mug. So I'm just cutting out pieces and then placing it on the tumbler. I did do a huge section here and I decided I didn't like that much on there. So I just went through with my sharp X-Acto knife and trimmed away a lot of it. All we're doing is going for kind of a distressy look, you know, the typical distress look that I love, but I'm just going for sections of the honeycomb to show. I don't want the whole thing covered in honeycomb. After I was happy with all of that placement, I took it outside and gave it a good coat of cream spray paint. I know it is Color Shot, and again, I can't remember the name of the color. And then in just some random spots, I gave it some gold spray paint splotches from Iron Lac. That is my favorite gold spray paint, metallic spray paint is the Iron Lac. I just get mine at Hobby Lobby. And then I sprayed it in a few spots and I really loved that overspray look. And then I gave it a few extra splatter spots. And then I let that dry a little bit. I'll be honest, it wasn't completely dry here, but it's okay. I was trying really hard not to scratch it up. I mean, it was pretty much dry, but just not, it probably could have used a little bit longer. But I peeled up all of that removable vinyl. I forgot to mention the honeycomb was in removable vinyl. And then I gave it a coat of epoxy, and in that coat of epoxy, I added some luster dust from Diamonds and Dust in the color bronzer. I just added a very tiny little smidgen just to give it a little bit of sparkle. And then I took this chunky fancy glitter from Diamonds and Dust and I sprinkled that all around the tumbler. I just take a little pinch in between my finger and my thumb and I just kind of rub them together and the glitter lands on there without being too heavy-handed. And I really tried to do it in the open spaces and not the spaces where the honeycomb was. And then once that was dry, I added this decal that I also got from Creative Fabrica. It just says Queen Bee because you know us moms are queen bees. And I cut the offset layer in a textured gold metallic vinyl from Tech Rep Crafts. And then the top layer is just a black. I really wanted to enhance some of that black from the glitter layer just to bring it all together. And then I cut it apart to make sure that I could line it up because it is a curved tumbler. I wanted to make sure that I lined it up perfectly. And then just in time, I got my new fast set from Counterculture DIY. They have I don't know if it's a fully new formula, but it is able to be used as a top coat now, and they put in some color additives so it has a much higher resistance to the UV rays and will not turn yellow. So I am super excited. Mine just came in the other day. And I am mixing up a little bit, and then I am adding some alcohol ink colors just to give it a honey color. And let me warn you right now, be super careful because you have to babysit this epoxy. It will flash cure on you, and that did happen to me. I mixed it up, added the alcohol inks, and then before I knew it, it was hard as a rock. It literally happened while I was stirring it. It was soft and then it was hard. So be careful. But I mixed up a new batch, re-added all of the alcohol ink, and then I am going to add just a few drips on there. You can see here, I know I'm not really showing it very well, but I was afraid that it was going to flash cure on me again or harden while I was doing this, so I wanted to be very mindful of that, and I was just adding a little bit here and there. I didn't want a full drip around the rim. I'm just adding it a little on the left and a little on the back right, just so it looks like honey kind of spilled out over this cup. I really wanted to go for a Winnie the Pooh honey look where, you know, his pot just has some honey. So I just added that in a few spots, and then when I was happy with that, I set it aside and let it dry. On the spot where you saw at the beginning, I just took a paper towel while it was still wet, still on the cup, and I just wiped it because the drip did get a little bit longer than I wanted. And here, I'll show you even better. I just pushed it up, and then because it's still soft enough and pliable, it will settle and cure like flatter than having like a bump where you pushed it to, but it just looks like it's part of the drip. And then I gave it a quick torch with my heat gun, actually my little torch gun, and popped any extra bubbles that might be seen, and then I just set it aside and let it cure for a few hours. It is fast set, and this fast set is touchable within 2 hours, and I just let it sit for the 2 hours, and then I gave it a final coat of epoxy, also using that fast set, and it was all done. I am absolutely loving this new fast set mixture from CCDIY. I liked their turbo, but it is not a fan of additives or water or any based products like that. So when doing things like this, I try to steer clear of that. But that was it. This beauty was all done after that. I absolutely love the way it turned out. I am obsessed with this honey drip. It looks like real honey, and that is exactly the look I was going for. I debated on adding a rhinestone bee on here, but I ultimately decided not to. I think it might be too much, but I don't know. I might look into it and add one anyways. But I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I will be back again tomorrow with a new tutorial. As usual, all the information where to find me and the products that I use will be listed down in the description box, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.